What did it say?
Marker created.
Huh.
Oh.
I'm supposed to be able to do that, but every time I hit B, it says we couldn't create a marker.
That's weird. But I think that only shows like on here. When I upload it, I don't think it happens. But anyways, welcome to episode 69 of the Retic Lounge, and happy
Get
Thanksgiving.
that grin off your face, Lucas.
Come on.
Act professional.
I was trying not to.
We've been doing
chuckle,
this a
but
year.
over a year. Coming
Yeah.
up on a year and a half.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is we thought we did this last year, but
We did.
we didn't. So new tradition here at the Retic Lounge. We just want to give thanks for everything that the Retic Lounge has done for us over the last little bit, over a year, like Lucas said. And yeah, just kind of BS for a little bit.
Yeah, shoot the shit. This is going to be the most like maybe non-Retic related episode. So if you guys are here for like good Retic information, you can exit now. We're shooting the shit. Obviously going to talk about things we're grateful for and thankful for, and any snake talk that comes up. We'll do that. But one thing that I definitely just want to start off this episode with in regards to thanks, as we always do at the beginning and end of our episodes, is our Patreon. You guys literally, I don't know if I can speak for Nathan on this. I'm sure he'll chime in, but
I mean, the in-person episode, would that have happened necessarily without them? I don't think so.
No. But I was gonna say, they're a large reason why I feel compelled to keep doing this. Because as you know, this is not easy putting out an episode every week. When life happens and stress happens, and but our Discord is popping every single day and they're supportive. So just thankful for all of you guys that still tune in, still deal with us, and that have a good time on the Discord. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Nathan. I mean, like, I feel compelled to want to keep doing this, but I feel like having a big community on our Patreon, like, definitely helps me on the days where I'm like, I got a lot on my plate.
Yeah, I mean, when I sit down to record these episodes, I'm thinking about them most of the time, just because those are the people I'm getting feedback from.
Right. So if you want to tell us how much we suck, it's $5 a month.
It's really cheap to chime in.
Yeah. And then for you Patreon members listening as well, we just started adding additional content. So Nathan and I typically shoot the shit for about 15-20 minutes before each episode, and that is now going to be available on Patreon to hear us BS and talk about our families or whatever's going on in our life.
Yeah, it gets weird sometimes. So
It does.
I figured, why not record it and put it out for everyone that pays to be there.
Yeah. Nathan, I went on TikTok live for the first time today, and I just want to say I've never felt older in my life.
Yeah, it tends to do that to you. I've done it once or twice.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And
how does the TikTok work?
I've watched a couple videos, come across a few lives. When I come across the lives, I you know, some of the stuff throws me off quite a bit. Like, I saw two people just acting like NPCs today.
Dude, that's all over the place, and these guys are making like $100,000.
It looks like they're making
$200,000 a month.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing just fine.
Like, they're just like,
and just saying the same stuff over and over. Okay.
Yeah.
It must satisfy some kind of like ASMR itch.
Yeah,
I don't know. Psychologist Lucas, please tell me more.
I can't tell you, because I'm not gonna lie. I've clicked it before, and I like tuned in.
Don't tell me you sat there and watched it.
I was there for 30 seconds thinking about
Okay.
leaving. And then once I was in for 30 seconds, next thing I know, like 4 minutes went by and I was like, I got to get off. You just get reeled. You're like, when are they going to crack? When are they going to mess up? It's weird. But yeah, there's only really a few people I see killing it on TikTok. One of them is Josh over in California.
Josh in California.
With South Bay Reptiles.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
I haven't seen any. I used to see him a lot. I have to give a local shout out to Luxor Reptiles, because
he's also huge. That's the other one I was going to say.
I mean, I think it's his wife more than anything. She'll sit on there for most of the day. Uh, what was it? I think like Halloween. Anytime I opened TikTok that day, that night, she was there. Like outfit changes, battling people. Like
Yeah.
it's all over my head.
Yeah. No, I agree. And actually, just talking about like TikTok and everything and social media in general, one thing that I want to talk about in terms of like wrapping up the year and like Thanksgiving coming along the way is I have, there's been things going on in my personal life, not bad or anything, but just, a new job change and family and my daughter growing up. And I've told myself this in the past, and I really do want to focus on this moving forward, but super thankful for the people I have like around me in life. And I really need to focus on enjoying that more and being on social media less. Nathan jokes with me all the time. Like, I don't know how you're as active and engaged. And yeah, I'm at the point right now where I don't know if you can even see it in my face, but I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Lucas needs parental controls against himself.
Right. I need my wife to set up like the block, like what is it? Screen monitoring.
Screen time.
Only 90 minutes a day.
You're gonna go in and adjust that immediately.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard. Even when like the stress of the Samson Pruitt stuff came up, and I said I was going to scale back, I did a good amount, but like I was still on there more than I originally had planned to, and that dopamine hit is definitely true about social media. But I was going somewhere and I lost it, so never mind. But yeah, um I don't know. I also make myself, I think, way too available.
You do. You need to learn to give yourself a little bit of a break, especially from the social media aspect of it. I mean,
Nathan keeps me accountable. He doesn't, I mean, accountable in the sense where, he doesn't tell me to not do it, but he does throw it in my face. So I appreciate that.
yeah, you have a lot on your plate. You have a big collection, you have a family, you have the adjustment of the new job. So, keeping up the pace that you were online when you were settled in your other job, I think that's
Yeah.
also pretty tough too. So,
It put into perspective how big my collection was. I was chatting I'm still back and forth on Messenger with Eric, and he said his number of retics that he has. And I was like, that's not including the hatchlings you have for sale, right? And he's like, no, that is. And I was like, why do I have more retics than you right now? I was like, this is not okay. So that put into perspective too.
okay, yeah, this is news to me. I'm thankful this year that my collection still is
Still
manageable.
hasn't grown besides your holdback from this year.
Yeah, but that's pretty manageable.
You would have had one more if you didn't get screwed, but we won't talk about that.
Oh, took a second.
Yeah,
It
no,
clicked.
it rhymes with Framfrax.
Uh, oh, he looks so good still. I'm no, I'm thankful for our Patreon community. I'm thankful for the amount of engagement we get with people in person, going to the reptile shows, hearing about people that are listening to the show, hearing people even in my personal life, clients coming in, reptile people or not, that are saying that they sit down and listen to an episode. That's huge for me.
Right.
That's cool that you're taking your time and, you know, listening to something even if it's not totally for you.
Yeah. And while we're on it, I want to give a thanks to our sponsors, which we'll cut to right now. Whether you're just getting into retics or you've been breeding for years, the first place you want to visit is Stewart Design. More and more breeders keep showing up at shows, on Morph Market, and are all over social media. Sometimes it may feel possible to get anyone's attention. Stewart Designs helps small businesses like yours do big things through brand clarity, helping entrepreneurs to start and scale businesses that are easy to know and love. Their work can help any company or industry, but they've done a ton of work for ours. Stewart Design created the brands for USARK, Canova, Reach Out Reptiles, Coiled, and dozens of other well-known reptile breeders. Like many of us, the owner of Stewart Design, Blake is a keeper and breeder who fell in love with retics through first working with Garrett Hartle. Although Stewart Design does a lot of corporate work, Blake has a passion for working with people in the reptile industry. Stewart Design can help if you're just getting started or you're ready to take things to the next level. You're struggling to stand out and build your presence online or at shows. You don't want to be like the other guys or get lost in the crowd, and you want to make your own way doing what you love. And also, you have big ideas and know your business is special, but you need help sharing it with the reptile community. If something here resonates with you, reach out to Blake and have a conversation. To learn more or get started, visit stewartdesignbrands.com or call them at 855 SD Logos. Clear brands own markets. Stewart Design helps create them. If you are in the market for an enclosure for your reticulated python or any other one of your reptiles, Focus Cubed Habitats is your one-stop shop for not only the best-looking cages on the market, but also provide amazing features and add-ons to your cages. We partnered with Focus Cubed Habitats because they continue to innovate and change the way we house our animals unlike any other caging company out there. Their cages are designed intelligently and provide the most stylish and secure housing for your animals' comfort and well-being. Visit focuscubedhabitats.com for your animals' caging needs. Again, visit focuscubedhabitats.com for some amazing and stylish enclosures.
We also want to thank VivTech Products for being an affiliate sponsor of the Retic Lounge. Stop by VivTech Products for the best UV spectrum lighting on the market that will enhance and improve your snake's overall well-being and health. Visit VivTechProducts.com and use the code ReticLounge23 today for 15% off. Again, visit VivTechProducts.com and use our affiliate code ReticLounge23 today for 15% off.
Looking for the perfect accessories for your hatchlings or juvenile retics? Look no further than HeliGuy Serpents. Our sponsor, Chris Sexton, is coming in hot with an amazing 3D printer, creating top-notch perches and other caging accessories for your beloved pets. Enrich your retics environment with their high-quality products. Use our promo code TRL10 for a 10% discount on your purchase. Visit them today at HeliGuySerpents.com and start giving your pets the best. HeliGuy Serpents, the premier source for 3D printed caging accessories. Again, that's www.heliguyserpents.com and use our promo code TRL10 for 10% off all of your 3D printed accessories today.
Perfect time to drop the sponsors.
Look at you. We're a little over a year in, and you're almost sounding like a podcaster. It's weird.
There you go. I'm listening to more podcasts, so I'm learning and trying to grow as I can. Which, by the way, I know that you listen occasionally to Joe Rogan. He just came out with an awesome episode with The Rock.
If there's comedians involved, I'm listening to it generally. So
they talked a lot about health, working out, physical health, mental health, and some other crazy topics as well. And they got to get in a workout together. It was a really cool episode. But
oh yeah, I've listened to maybe like the first 30 minutes of that. It's getting pretty good. But they're working out with Shane Gillis, who's
and Shane's.
I'm thankful for Shane Gillis this year. He's provided a lot of serotonin. So
they go into detail a little later in the episode about how they they want to go, but they go only when they choose to go, and they complain, but they get after it. I don't know, it's cool, but I enjoy those type of episodes from his podcast when they talk about health, well-being, fitness. They had a Huberman lab. What's his name?
Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, they had him on, and that episode just gets it going.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but he says that he's Tom Segura's cousin.
I don't know either. That'd be interesting to find out. But back to snake talk. You want to know what I'm thankful for?
What are you thankful for in your collection, Lucas? What's been some like highlights of the year for you, like successes, that kind of thing that are keeping you going and keeping you talking about retics, snakes in general?
Yeah, I hate to not give like the generic answer that people who know me would expect from me, but it's really the locality stuff. Um, recently was able to get a pure Philippine tribal, and I'm selling that clutch for Sean McFarlane. And it just like when you think you've kind of reached a point of like being happy with locality stuff, and then you like I saw that animal, it just it was like getting my first locality animal all over again. They're just insane looking, and the fact that it's a pure Philippine, it's like that was awesome. But yeah, I said it from the beginning this year, like well before my season started. If I could hit my pure Solaire clutch and nothing else, this year would be my favorite year of breeding. And right now, it seems like everything else that I'm pairing right now is not working out the best. It's still early, but I have that Solaire clutch in the incubator that
How are they looking?
perfect.
Good. And remind me how far along they are.
They are about, if I had to give a guess,
It's right around New Year's that they are expected, right?
yeah, so they were laid on the 5th of October. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 7 is 42, 43, 45 days today. And I was about to say 45 days.
Okay.
So we're halfway there.
Yeah. You're getting to the home stretch. I mean, you're going to be so busy with holiday stuff anyway that
Yeah.
it'll be a breeze.
Yeah, and I think that like continuing to talk about just like thankful for with this is as the market has slowed down and the economy sucks, and I have a lot of retics, super thankful for the realization that what really fuels me is like the locality stuff. And I've thought about and made the decision after this season of doing some important morph pairings that I'll have some holdbacks, but I'm going to be getting rid of all my morph animals, and slimming down the collection to just be able to appreciate and spend more time with them, and focus on my locality stuff while the side project is the triple het Anery Ghost Ocelot stuff that's going to be the triple head, and then I'll make the.
So don't start messaging him about his ocelot that he shows off all the time. He's not going anywhere.
No, I mean after this season, I decided I was going to price him at what his value is, which no one right now is paying that kind of money for.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep him there priced at that. And when someone wants him, he's yours. But in the meantime, I'll use him for every other locality that I have.
Yep. There's always a price.
Always a price. And at the end of the
Wow.
day, he is such a beautiful animal that if I happen to keep one more
I'm sure you have a couple there's no price for, but
yeah, my wild caught animals get off. Don't even ask. My Coyote, my first retake, don't ask. And probably my male Solaire, don't think about it. Yeah, there's probably a handful that, you'd have to kill me if you want. Also thankful for my new venture in green tree pythons.
yeah, I was waiting for that one to hit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to I could talk about them for days. Like I've always been able to, and I've always bit my tongue, but
I don't think you should hold back. I mean, it's the TheReticLounge, sure, but I mean, I don't mind chatting about some green tree pythons here and there.
Yeah, I mean, one went to 5 within no time. And but I am like at like my garage and my caging and everything that I have set up is where it's at. And unless I open up the garage, I remove the metal rack, I bulletproof insulate the garage door. I'm not getting any more enclosures really in there anytime soon. So I don't plan on growing in that area for a while. And yeah, it's like kind of sparked the kid in me again. It's a whole new species I'm keeping for the first time. I'm learning as I go. I had like a little panic that happened with one of my chondros, and then it shed and it was completely fine. And I was like, oh, here we go again, like the
Yep.
whole nervous Nelly type of thing, where you feel like you don't know what you're doing, but at the end of the day, it's a freaking snake. And
Hey,
I've
hey,
kept
a
them.
shed with a neo green tree is a lot dicier than a shed with a neo
Well,
retic.
it
So
had a white spot like on its lip, and I thought I was overspraying and it was fungus and all this kind of stuff, and then it shed and it went away, and I was like, oh. um, and that snake is like becoming, it's like black is coming in, that animal from Bill, and it comes from Jaeger, who sired
yeah,
the
I
sickness.
haven't seen a picture of it in a couple weeks. So
Yes, you had, so you just haven't been on social media.
not a ton. It's well, especially this week. It's been busy. So
I want to give you, I'm gonna send you the most recent photos after the shed, and I want you to give our audience a live breathing, like a live, like just, well, no, be honest, don't, but I mean, zoom
a
in.
live reaction.
Yeah, live reaction. Zoom in and look at. I'm just gonna send you just a few right now, but
Anything else you're thankful for while you're sending those over that you want to hit on? As far as like personal life, your collection, anything.
I mean, thankful for my new job. That's for sure. My new job is great.
Has that adjustment been good?
Yeah, it's an adjustment, and it's a lot different than I was doing before. And like tomorrow, Monday, is going to be I have a new patient that I'm getting, and then I'm also leading groups for the first time this upcoming week and on a short week. So there's a lot that is going to be going on. So I'm a little kind of, my nerves are there, but they're all. I've been there before in this profession, and it always ends up fine. I mean, at the end of the day, if my patients are safe, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So. But I'm excited for
So
that.
I know you want my live reaction, and I'm just looking at them now.
Yeah.
Good amount of black speckling. It's amazing how perspective makes that animal look so much bigger than it is.
Oh, because it's so tiny, right?
I mean, I'm sure it's gotten some good size since the last time I saw it
A little bit.
in start of October or whatever. So, yeah, looks, dude, dark.
Dark. I'm gonna try to pull up some images here. I'll try to.
I
Edit
mean,
some
if you
so-
can imagine like that, like sunburst orange to like a dark red on top, that's what I'm seeing. The contrast is so great, and then yeah, there's definitely evidence of some black speckling, but
Now that black can always go green. You never know. You
yeah. I
never
mean,
know.
I want to see the real big color change, and that's when I'm gonna start getting like,
Excited, me too.
yeah.
And I'm super.
How long does that take again?
I mean, for red neos, it can happen at like the 8 to 12 month mark, and then I have Biox here that Biox are known for taking a long time. That can literally, like the
I'm talking this one specifically just because it
probably
of the-
about probably about a year mark, and it's
Okay.
7 months old, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be exciting come like February.
Patience, man, and that's another thing that I need to be thankful for and need to work on is patience.
Okay. Yeah, I mean my life this last year. It's been I mean, Lucas, you know better probably than anyone else. You spend the most time with me outside of the people I work with day to day. But being as we're usually unwinding at the end of the night and we're texting throughout the day, I would say you're kind of the person that's hearing all my shit, and there's been a lot of it this year, but I think first and foremost I'm just thankful for it doesn't always feel like growth sometimes, but the growth I've been able to have this year, taking care of all my responsibilities just solo, still maintaining the size of collection that I had, and I feel like we've been able to sustain the podcast through everything. So it's been just a year of growth. So
Thankful for you, buddy.
yeah,
I am. I really am. Yeah, the podcast in general. I mean, literally, and I don't mean to sound cheesy, but I'm proud of us. Like this has been a venture. Like it's been ups and downs and wax and waning, and we've still been consistent. And For any of you that like are thinking, I want to start a podcast and, you know, put out weekly episodes, don't do it.
I wouldn't say don't do it, but
It's just a lot.
don't expect it to be easy at all. I
No, it's
mean,
not.
I could only imagine doing a solo podcast. I mean, could you imagine trying to sit down for an hour and record every week, just coming up solo?
No, I don't have that motivation in myself. Like if it
Yeah.
wasn't for you, and I'm
There's
sure
so
and
much that goes into it.
yeah, and I'm sure if it wasn't for me on your part, like this wouldn't, like, for people that do solo podcasts, like, kudos to you. I don't have the don't have the drive to do that. I think Nathan and I have been a good accountability partner for each other.
Accountability buddies.
Accountability buddies. That's amazing. Where'd you hear that?
I can't remember. It's from some movie or something.
Some podcast episode.
Oh, yep. Yep. It was a weight loss challenge, I think, but they needed accountability buddies, and yep.
Dude, speaking of podcasts, hold on. I need to go into this YouTube channel real quick. I've been trying to catch up and trying to watch more episodes of it's Kill Tony.
Kill Tony is what I watch religiously.
And that's why I've kind of been doing that to kind of like, right. And bro, some of them are so cringy with the comedians that come on stage. Oh, that was the one that I recently watched with Post Malone on stage.
Most Cologne, yeah.
And those things are so painfully funny to get through.
All right. He has a Canes here in Utah, so I have the Posty Cup.
That's pretty badass. Yeah. I love Post Malone, man, but I swear he sometimes looks so drugged up. He was not expecting to go up on stage, and he just looks so faded, but love that dude. But yeah, I've been watching that more, and it's hard. Like, it's funny as hell, but also like painfully funny. It's that awkward, painful funny sometimes.
That's what I told you. Like, if there's tickets available, I'm buying tickets. I have a cousin who lives out there who loves comedy. Theron's out there. You're an hour away. So yeah, as soon as tickets are available, I'm forcing a trip on everyone.
I'll start checking freaking daily, dude.
Well, I mean, it's just through their Instagram. They'll let you know when tickets become available. They sell out really fast.
Right now, December 30th.
For Kill Tony?
Yep. HEB Center at Cedar Park.
I thought that was even sold out, but that's the big like Kill Tony special for New Year's. I think they're doing it until midnight.
They only have back rows. But I mean, tickets as low as $45, dude. What are we doing?
Oh, don't tell me this.
What
Lucas.
are we doing?
I'm not thankful that Lucas just told me that. But no, back to that list. I mean, in terms of my collection, I mean, yeah, just thankful everything's still healthy and thriving. But thankful for this clutch. And I say that with a little hesitation in my voice, sure, but that's just because it was a big learning year with this clutch. You know, some had hard belly.
That was your first clutch that you raised.
Yeah, fully raised, but you know, they also had, you know, a handful of them had some issues with hard belly where they weren't wanting to eat on their own. Had a few failure to thrive that just never, you know, could digest properly, and you know, had only one go out to a good friend of ours that ended up being one of my strongest eaters and just, you know, unfortunately passing.
Sucks.
So I mean, it's been a big learning year, but I'm thankful for all the learning that I've gotten with this clutch.
It like when you get thrown into the ringer and you have a first clutch and you have issues, like, and I'll say this again, like my first clutch was that Pure Kalatoa clutch that only 2 survived and then 1 died after, but that was force feeding. That was tying an umbilical cord with dental floss.
Mm-hmm.
That was force feeding for 3 months. And, you know, I still have the one female here that survived. And, you it kind of wakes you up to the reality of like being a animal breeder, not just snake
Hmm.
breeder, but an animal breeder, that it gets ugly and sad.
Yeah, yeah, I had some depressing days for sure, but I mean, the stuff you learn in having to deal with an animal that, doesn't want to eat on its own, or, it's not that you want to keep doing that as a practice, but it's an important thing to have in your back pocket, I guess.
Yeah. And you know what? I have some pushers right now in the hatchling rack, and it made me think when we were talking about that it still bothers me and it still like hurts. And I hope I don't become one of those breeders that just gets jaded and it's just like, eh, just a baby retic that's struggling with health. Like I hope it continues to always bother me.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's people out there that have been doing this for so long or have had so many experiences that they get jaded. Um, and it's kind of the same thing in the counseling world, right? Like when therapists start to get jaded and if a client tells you or a patient tells you that they're suicidal and like you don't feel that, like something's up, like you need to probably take some time off and reflect. And it's one of those things, anytime you lose a hatchling or a neonate, it's I feel like you should always feel that.
Yeah, yeah, you feel it. You definitely start to feel it in a different way. So I wouldn't say I become jaded to it at all, but you know, um, you start to understand what's happening, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it's stuff. I think I did my best to avoid any of the failure to thrive animals, but they weren't meant to be. And the one that was eating great and just failure to thrive out of nowhere. It's unfortunate, but we won't ever really know with that animal.
and that's
And
why,
that could just be a one in,
yeah.
that just an unlucky animal in
Well,
that
and
clutch.
before I even say what I was gonna say, like how crazy is that? Like, and
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know the story, Nathan, I'll let you kind of tell it if you want. But it just that blows my mind that that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, I mean, this, like I said, there were some animals with hard belly in the clutch that needed to be palpated to make sure that they were fully passing all their meals before they could be fed again, just to reduce the risk of, death from impaction or anything like that. Uh, this was not one of those animals. This animal was eating every week on the dot, was gaining calories just fine, eating, pooping, growing, everything you want to see from an animal.
Yeah, it was a thriving animal.
Yeah. And then after it was established for a few months, sent it out to a really good friend of ours, um, and just got a text, I think a month and a half, 2 months later. He said he fed it, had to go on a little work thing for the weekend, I believe. Um, Cleaned its cage. It was pooping, shedding, eating just fine. Fed it, went on his work vacation, came back 3 days later, and it was dead in the tub.
Yeah,
No sign of digestion issues, like no black spot in the belly. Um, but it was 3 days late. So we don't know when that animal passed during that time. And it's unfortunately too late for a necropsy at that point. So
yeah,
you were just both unfortunately at a loss. And, you know, at that moment, I'm thankful for my mentors. I reached out to Chris McVicker and, just explained the situation and just asked him his opinion on it. And, he said, unfortunately, it's not very common, but, he's had animals where they're showing signs of being great animals, growing great, and then just out of nowhere pass. So it could be something like that. It could have been digestion issues. Who knows?
yeah. And
So it was a sucky situation, but also important to go through.
yeah, it's funny how like with animals and breeding, it's you learn the most when shit goes wrong,
Unfortunately, so.
right? Um, and yeah, I think that. Oh, what was I gonna say? what were you saying right before that? About babies, yeah, like about feeding and failure to thrive, and and that's the reason why I stopped force feeding. It's because I realized that it was so stressful for me that very first experience that I just didn't want to. Is my light flickering?
Something's happening. Yep. I don't know if it's just your camera adjusting or if your light's flickering.
No, it's flickering. It's flickering. Oh well. But yeah. So I had two babies this year that died because I refused to force feed. They didn't take frozen thawed, didn't take live, and just slowly. That was hard to watch. Just kind of the like slow death of seeing them get skinny and, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that's yeah.
It is kind of rewarding seeing a baby that was, at the point of needing assist feeding to going to lives, I believe, on this last tiger that I still have,
Oh yeah, it feels great.
to frozen thawed.
Right.
Like that jump is really nice to see, but it's also an animal that I'm not selling at the price I would sell that tiger for.
Yeah, and I just yeah, I think that that first year for me was traumatic. I just made that commitment to not do that again. But I don't anybody that does force feed, I have nothing against it. Especially when we're producing.
It's not something you want to do, and if you have a big clutch of animals, and if a bunch of them are needing it, it's a
pain in the ass.
yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah.
luckily it was only like, I want to say the whole time it was 5 animals out of the 17 animal clutch. So
yeah, I mean that's a decent number, but I mean manageable with the size of your collection. But yeah, I mean for me it has nothing to do with time or anything. It's more just like the kind of mental exhaustion. I have to kind of prepare myself for some of that because I know that a lot of people in the green tree python community will force feed, especially for neos that look incredible. And force feeding a little tiny, fragile, delicate.
I couldn't imagine.
Dude, I'm gonna be shaking.
A baby super dwarf. You've seen. I mean, I sent you that tiger. She wasn't much smaller when she hatched out of the egg, and could you imagine? I mean, force feeding that, but then going over to Bill's and seeing
how tiny they are,
all the little neonates, and imagining, because he said it with no sweat coming out. I'm gonna force feed these babies tomorrow. I'm like, you're gonna do.
I was listening to a podcast, and someone was talking about like when it comes to force feeding, is making sure like pinkies. The size of the pinky that you're feeding these guys is so disgusting and messy force feeding that this guy, what he does is he takes the legs of like adult mice and he'll sit there with forceps and he cuts the fur off to where it's just the muscle and bone. Mm-hmm. And that's what he force feeds so that there's the calcium and the muscle and the connective tissue. And so he's sitting there surgically removing the freaking.
What's the point of removing the fur though?
Just I guess with how fragile those animals are, I mean, I could imagine that it just, I don't know, might be too taxing. I mean, in the wild when they're that young, they're not eating anything with fur on it. And I don't know if you've ever seen a retic or any animal that you've had shit and you'll see remnants of fur.
Yeah.
So fur just doesn't really digest really great for most animals. And so for our first few meals, probably not the best.
Okay. I see.
And it just probably goes down a lot easier. But yeah, I heard that and I was like, that's a lot. Like that's like you're doing surgery on like you are amputating a limb and then you are cutting it and opening it up. Like that's pretty freaking intense, man.
Well, I mean, the fish oil supplements. I mean, how people will insert those into the rectum of their feeders. I always thought that was gross.
Oh, I've done
when
that
I first
probably,
saw that.
I've done that probably like. I had my female ternate had like a tiny mini prolapse, not even a full prolapse, but like a centimeter that would just stick out after she pooped for a while. And dude, I was shoving fish oil pills up rats' ass for like 3 months.
But I mean,
It's strange.
after assist feeding and having a mouse as your assist feeding have its guts, you can see it happening too, rising up towards the back and
Yep.
eventually pop on
Oh, it's
you.
disgusting.
I
Dude,
have no, I'll have no problem ever having to do the fish oil pill thing.
oh no. You want to know what's the most disgusting shit that I've had to deal with? Um, and I guess I didn't have to deal too much with it besides next day clean the bedding out, but I had a pig pop.
Oh,
I had a pig pop, and I am not thankful for that. And I am not thankful for
so
that.
just the force of the constriction.
Yep.
Oh
Because
no!
when you're feeding
What?
pigs 2 pounds,
How big?
when you're feeding pigs 2 pounds or less, they're very, very delicate in the middle. They don't
So
have
this
a lot
was
of
like a
bone
pound and a
structure.
half, or
Yeah, it was probably like 1.75 pounds. That's like a very common size I have in my freezer. And just I remember feeding it wrapping and hearing the pop. And I was like,
no.
and I sat there and watched the snake finish, guts coming up in and
All over the
eating,
animal, I'm
all
sure.
over the snake, all over, but like it finished all the guts, finished the entire thing, and there was just a big spatter of blood that I cleaned the next day.
It was just blood. There
Yeah,
were no guts or anything.
No, it ate everything.
Oh,
It's
I
still
guess
all
that's
attached.
lucky. But what
So
was the
thankful for
smell
that.
like the next day? Because there's no way you're
No
cleaning that
smell.
right away.
No smell.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah, thankful for that portion, but
Thankful for that for
but
sure.
visually seeing that and visually seeing a snake slurp up intestines. It's the
Oh, yeah.
last thing I wanted to ever see.
Yeah, I got cocky with one of my assist feedings and only wore one glove on the finger that I was forcing the first part of the animal down
Popped
with.
all
And then
over
I
your other
go,
hand.
then I finish it up with the forceps. And yeah, the other hand securing the animal, pop, and guts just flow over my finger. And I'm just like, I deserve that. I deserve that. Every bit of that I deserve.
This is what you new breeders have to look forward to. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
If
stuff.
I could have told my younger reptile loving self the things I would go through,
Right. Who knows if we'd still be here. But I will say
I'd
this.
probably be like, man, you can deal with a lot more than you can now, but all right, let's go for it.
I will say from an outside looking in, seeing you manage that clutch, there was a lot of growth that happened there.
Yeah, I mean, it just sets in stone. Like, if I had all the money in the world, all the free time in the world, I still think I would keep it around this size. I wouldn't be trying to breed retics heavy. I I wouldn't be trying to breed any animal heavy.
Yeah.
I think this year has just shown me that I'm in it for the love of the reptiles, the stuff that I keep, and that I can see that expanding a little bit in the future, which is kind of cool. My horse blinders are off with retics. The idea of a tree monitor was always kind of a distant dream, but now it's, I'm forcing myself to be uncomfortable in the idea of growing
Yeah.
and, again, almost like you, downsizing a little bit with the collection, the stuff that I don't see myself like really, really focused on, and just continue with working with the stuff that makes me happy to be in this room.
I got a couple things that I wanted to say. The first one was that I think you have like who your mentor is and who you choose to have as your mentor can influence your perception of what you want to do. For me, there were two people that were my mentor that I started early on in this wanting to be a breeder
Mm-hmm.
and thinking that this idea of doing it full time was doable. Come to learn and came to the realization on my own that although some people might still think it's possible to just breed retics as a living, I no longer think that. And so that's why I'm doing the downsizing that I am, because I had going into this the breeder mentality, and thankful for the change of that perception. Now, second thing I was going to say is I'm kind of like I'm going to be trying to sell some breeders. And in this market right now, like no one is spending $2, $3, $4, $5,000 on proven breeders.
There's a reason I haven't listed
It's
proven
it,
breeders.
and
I
again,
think
that,
I think I maybe mentioned it once on one of the animals. But I haven't continued trying to push that animal because it's just not the right time. I can
right.
like just like that King Cobra guy was saying in one of the forums trying to find a buyer for his animal. He's had that animal for years, but he's not gonna let it go until it's the right time, the right buyer, everything like that. And I think it's the same when it comes to a breed or retic of any size.
Yeah, and I mean, and the market just isn't there as far as value goes. You know, they're worth more than what people are willing to pay. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
I'm
of course.
sharing my conversation with Eric twice now, but me and Eric were talking about that. Eric's downsizing
Too much inside
quite,
baseball, Lucas.
right. Eric's downsizing quite a bit, like I am, even more so. And it's just one of those things where, you know, people have animals that they're just ready to move on to the next phase of the project that they're getting rid of, but you know, but they're also like animals no one has. And so how do you sell a $10,000 animal in this economy? So it's one of those things where, you know, if you're in that position, you just better hang on tight. Like your animals aren't going anywhere anytime soon, unless you decide to undercut, you know, the value of that animal massively, which I'm not a fan of. So
I'm not a fan of unless it's the absolute right circumstance. I mean, you know, there's always a situation where something can work out, but
yeah, like I'm not gonna judge someone if they do it without understanding it, like without walking in their shoes, right?
no, I mean, I'm saying like if I have a breeder that is valued extremely high, let's say I'm looking to sell my purple albino, um, you know, ooh, this is a tough one. I just brought her into this. But I mean, let's say I'm asking, what would you say on her?
She's a two-time proven breeder, 62.5% Kalatoa, purple
Het snow.
het snow. I wouldn't list her for less than 7,500.
Yeah, I was thinking closer to 10 or 12.
Yeah, I wouldn't list her for a penny less. I would list her for 10 and maybe go down to 8, but I mean that's yeah.
So
And-
let's say someone really close to me who's working a project that I really believe in or just know would be a fantastic fit for the animal. There's a lot of wiggle room.
you said a lot. I was thinking.
Well, I'm just trying to put a random scenario out there.
No,
That's
I get
very
that.
very
And I
hypothetical
get that,
that
'cause
purple's
let's say-
going nowhere.
Let's say her value is 75 or 10,000, right?
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, for most people, if someone you know and you're close to and has a good vision with her and you can keep track on her,
Yeah.
like I'm not going to turn down 5,000 cash. Like I'm not turning down
No.
5,000. Like that's I don't at the end of the day and you guys can give me all the shit in the world for this for those of you like high-end breeders, but
You're crashing the retic market, Lucas.
shut up. No, $5,000 is 5,000. This is an animal with no legs. Okay? I'll give you a
How Lucas is crashing the
I'll give you
retic
a
market.
1,000
101 is what we're titling this episode.
$1,000 discount for each leg it doesn't have. But but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, they're snakes, and that's why. But don't get me wrong, I'm also not for. Oh man, like we can go into this is public and people are talking about this. We could talk about Bob Clark's 50% off everything on his website and the damage that might be doing to some people's like.
I know. I'm just poking the bear a little bit.
I have a very close friend, a great friend of mine, who just spent $5,000 or $6,000 on a blue hypo on Bob Clark, and now that same animal on his website is now 50% off. I would be hunting him down. I would be livid.
I mean, I don't know. I see both sides of the coin, I guess, here.
What's the other side?
I mean, the economy. He's not selling snakes too. I mean,
Whoa. He just, oh man, should I even drop this?
oh God, what did I just say?
No, I'm not going to say the number, but he just got an insane, massive amount of money selling animals to people in Dubai.
Oh,
Like think of a number and then like double it. And that's the amount of money. Like the dude probably made more in that one sale than
get
he
your
has
exporting license if you want to make money breeding retics, everyone.
But yeah, I mean I get it though when you have a lot of stock and you do that, but you can't help but feel for the people that have invested in that project. It's the same thing with the ocelot shit going on right now. I just a year ago, spent $12,000 on a male ocelot, and then I had someone message me and said, "Hey, I'll trade you a female ocelot for a pair of super dwarf head anthrax." I was like, these are valued at $2,500. He's like, yeah, and I was like, that's what you're valuing a female visual ocelot, pos het albino. That hit me in the stomach, dude. I was like, man, this is bad. This is really bad. Not thankful for that.
I mean, yeah, I guess I see your point on that, but do you always want that to be an unattainable morph for people?
No, I've always said from the get-go that my plan was to make ocelots for everyone.
Yeah.
But we're talking about 1 year ago, $12,000 to now $2,500.
Yeah, but I mean, 1 year ago, the economy was a very different thing. I mean, it wasn't a ton better, but
haven't we always preached about the idea like plan to hold back animals?
oh yeah, I'm doing it right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but anyways, Lucas's rant of Thanksgiving giving episode.
Give more people ocelots. Make them free, Lucas.
That'll piss a few people off that I don't care about pissing off, but yeah, I think that yeah, that hurts a little bit, and the Retic market is delicate, dude, because the big flourish of the super dwarf was based off of COVID. And that's when a lot of people...
I mean, there was a bunch of steam before COVID.
There was the hype buildup, but when everybody decided I'm going to breed super dwarfs, they started buying in 2020, 2019, 2020, 2021.
2015.
Bro. This like not a lot of people were getting into it as early as you were. I would say most of us got into it I would even say it's early for me in 2018 to get a pure Kayiwadi. That's when everyone started opening their eyes as far as like breedable and making money. I do this even though, yes, you can make money.
I mean, my plan. I mean, when I first got into it, I wasn't like, oh my God, super dwarfs, they're going to make me so much money. I bought my purple albino at a stupid low price back in the day because they had no attention on them. But,
What'd
the
you buy her
hype
for?
trait, we're not talking about it.
Come on, what'd you buy her for?
And that's too inside baseball.
These are
we're
our
not
listeners.
So back in the day. These are our listeners. These aren't our Discord and Patreon family.
This is the nation. This is the world.
Lucas told you guys earlier about how we talk and release some private details about what's going on in our lives in the pre-recordings of the show. Maybe I'll talk about it there one day,
Listen,
Lucas.
No one is gonna watch an episode titled "Giving Thanks."
How much did Nate spend on that damn purple albino? Is what we'll title it.
That's gonna be the thumbnail.
Okay.
Okay.
Not enough.
Was it over or under 1,000?
So moving on. I can't even remember the point now. I'm totally lost. I'm diverting so hard that my thought has diverted.
The market? Oh, you never thought you were gonna get rich. You just bought your first animal.
Yeah. I bought it at a stupid price just because I was into the animal. So, I mean, I don't.
But
it doesn't hurt me as much to see these animals going for solo sometimes, but I don't want it to stay there. Like I've always said, I think any retic that you get should be over 1,000 just as a
Yeah, baseline.
barrier for entry.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I
I
agree.
want you considering this animal's life pretty seriously when you're buying it.
More so for mainlands. I don't care if it's a mainland normal. I can't stand seeing those things at $75 on a Sunday at a show.
Yeah. It's the
Um,
same thing with Nile monitors and,
right.
you name it. A
Yeah,
green
you see,
iguana for
dude, green iguanas will kill you. They will hurt you.
ruthless if you get a misbehaved one
But
or work one into being misbehaved.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I no, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I will say that a lot of the people, even some of the people on our Discord, bought into the hype of this is a lucrative, this is an investment. And a lot of people get into, a lot of people keeping ball pythons and boas, and they hear about the Superdorf market. MJ speaks about this publicly, and that happened to him. Right, he got into it because of the hype train, and then all of a sudden, like the animals were literally 3/4 of what they were worth back when he bought the animals. It sucks, but the economy is going to turn around. The U.S. will be back on the top of the global economy, and we'll get there.
Have I mentioned you can subscribe to our Patreon?
Everyone's hurting. That's funny.
All right, Lucas, to round out the evening, I guess. What are you thankful for in terms of your plans coming up this season? We've kind of already talked about your Solaire eggs. If everything's to pan out, like, what are you looking forward to?
Superdorf head ocelots, Ternate head ocelots, 25% Kalatoa, double het ghost anery motleys, and pure Philippines.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking forward to, and to be honest, man, with the economy and the way animals are moving, if none of those clutches pan out, still thankful.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm at the point right now where I am okay. If the Solaire is the only clutch I have this year, it's my best season of breeding retics.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, so I'm feeding
Tree
up for
monitors.
I'm feeding up for breeding right now. I'm really hoping to finally get something paired to my Anery Poshet purple girl that is also 75% Kalatoa, 12.5 Jampea. So trying to prove her out this year will be cool. I'll also be using a male from my first clutch. He is a platinum golden child sun tiger het snow.
Look at you. Your first animal production is good. I haven't even reached that stage yet.
Yeah,
we bred the same year.
almost full circle. I wanna bring it to
A female.
Yeah, a female
Same.
as well. So
Laying
I'm
eggs.
still a few years away from that. But no, I'm really only a cup. I'm a couple years away from that if I decide to keep his sister.
Yeah, my Kalatoas are not growing. I'm nowhere close to getting my 2021 babies to breed.
Yeah, so half circle, not full circle breeding this year. But it should be cool. I mean, snow combinations of any of those genes will be beautiful, and they'll be really small animals. So I'm excited for it. And then I'm excited for this weekend. I'm going out to a buddy's house. One of the guys who's responsible for me being into Super Dwarf Retics, he is the sole reason I have that purple behind me. He told me about Eric Lee's post.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So Aspen Mahan, Eric Lee, those two are the guys that got me in, and Richard Bilbo, I guess, as well. I mean, his animals were at the first gathering that I got to go to in get hands on with these guys. But he has a tree monitor, Aspen, at home, and he's on the way to my mom's house for Thanksgiving. So, of course, I'm stopping off over there and playing with the tree monitor. So
That's exciting.
by the time this episode drops, Nate will have the serotonin boost of the year that
Unless you get
I've
bit
been
and have an
waiting for.
allergic reaction to the venom, and then you're like, nope, screw these things. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was
Pessimistic Patty
I know.
over here has to ruin it.
No, I'm excited for you. That's I know it's a dream animal of yours, and even just interacting, even if it's not yours, is it's kind of the same way I feel walking into Bill's.
No, but I mean, I'm always a little bit reinvigorated after visiting a good friend's collection, whether it be just retics or, whatever it is. It just, I like to see other people's passion too.
Yeah. Yeah, even if it's way too many, right?
Yeah. I mean, but way too many in the reptile world is a very broad and very gray statement.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I got a new dude who's coming over to my place that Sean, this 15-year-old, is showing a 24-year-old the ropes. It's a local guy that just saw the podcast and he's been interested in retics. And I was like, hey, come over. And today was a full cleaning day.
Hey, just make sure you don't have another incident, okay?
What incident?
Wait for it.
No. What incident?
You had an incident at the garage with a visitor.
Oh, dude.
So make sure you don't have another incident, Lucas.
It's not snake related.
Okay. Well, it is kind of snake related.
Damn it. Yeah, I asked him straight up. I said, "Hey, I want you to be 100% honest with me." I said, "I'm very serious when it comes to the well-being of my animals." And I said, "You came on the biggest cleaning day of the week, right when we didn't do any prepping." I said, "What was your first thoughts when you came in and you looked at all the animals?" He's like, "It doesn't smell in here." He's like, there was pee, there was some poop, and we cleaned it. He's like, "Your snakes look fine and healthy." And I was like, "Okay, good." I was like, I wanted some objective feedback because,
well, that's the marker. Like, is it unpleasant to go around your animals because of a smell because you haven't cleaned them? And is everything healthy and thriving? Those are the two markers. Just make sure that you're taking care of your animals. And if you are, you have the right amount of reptiles. You might be able to add more. You might not be able to.
Nope.
Know your limits.
I'm at the cusp.
I know you are.
I'm at the cusp. I'm right there, and I've finally learned my limit, and I'm at where I'm at. And so, don't message me with your green tree pythons or your retics. I don't want them.
This has been a theme throughout the life of the Retic Lounge, but Lucas, please don't get any more animals. And every time I've said this, there's a new animal that comes. So Lucas, just I don't know what I need to say differently, but please.
There's only one more chondro coming into the collection, but it's a year from now. It's a year from now. It's a pairing that Bill's doing, and it might not even come to fruition. And if it does, I gotta get a Neo. Bill, thank you.
I can't hope for Bill not to pull through on a clutch, but
if you, I don't even want to
trying to save Lucas's relationship.
It's funny. My wife walked my daughter into the garage and saw the green tree pythons, like the arus, the green ones, the actual green ones, and she's like, those are a lot harder to hide than retics, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, I knew it was only a matter of time. She's like, yeah, Aspen wanted to go into the garage and see the new green snake. And I was like, excuse me? And so
we talked about this with on the Zoom call.
Yeah. And so that's what ended up happening. But we're still here. I'm alive. I have all my fingers. My penis isn't cut off. We're good.
Whoa, okay. All right.
We're good.
Keep those knives dull? I don't know.
I survived another one.
Okay. Yeah, don't end up as a news story. We've all seen how that pans out.
I'm going to end on a sentimental note. So thankful for my wife who puts up with my bullshit. And
let me try to round this one out and make it all sweet.
Yeah, let me, babe, if you're listening, which you haven't listened to a single episode, thank you for dealing with me.
She's smart. She's smart.
She is. I'd be in so much trouble if she listened to these. But all right, on that note, thanks again to our Patreon members and to our sponsors. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And you guys have an incredible Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you guys eat all the turkey and all the stuffs. And if you guys are listening overseas and you don't know what Thanksgiving is, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, Luke. See everyone.